They say do something you love and you'll never work another day in your life. Kinda sounds like the dream. Maybe. But what happens when the thing that you do starts to become who you are? I'm starting to notice how easy it is for my work to take up more space than it probably should in my life. Because when you're passionate about something, you want to give it everything. It becomes what you think about, what you talk about, what you measure your days and your success by. And somewhere along the way, the line between what you do and who you are starts to blur. There's this idea that once you get paid to do something you love, your life starts to look like something out of a Pinterest board. Interesting projects, cool people, new places. And sometimes that's true, but not always. And probably not most of the time. There's still going to be admin, emails, projects that you don't enjoy that you have to do anyway for the money, and times where you don't seem to be making any progress. Days where your passion feels exactly like work. But maybe for you the motivation is different. Maybe it's not about enjoyment, maybe it's about the money. It's not necessarily a bad thing. We do have to work to live, after all. I'm not denying that money in career isn't important, nor is working hard towards a goal. But there is a toxic relationship with work that I so often find myself in. When I become too fixated on my work, my world becomes smaller. I'm not noticing as much, I'm not experiencing as much. And yet the artists that I admire most weren't only defined by their medium. They've lived, they've read, experienced. They pay attention to the world beyond their work. Perspective is what's gained, and it's what makes them so special. When your life just revolves around work, you become so boring. I mean, how will anyone ever hear you if you have nothing to say? Grinding harder isn't the answer. Maybe it's just as simple as being more present in the everyday, or something cliche like that. But there is another cost. When your work becomes your identity, your sense of worth can quietly attach itself to results. How much you earn, the projects you work on, the seasons when things are going well or not well at all. I mean, you can hear 10 kind words and then one negative comment, and you know exactly what's going to stay with you. It gets to a point where you just have to ask yourself, is my value rising and falling with the outcomes? I'm going to be right back, but first, coffee. Delicious. Delicious. Recently, with all the conversations around AI and the future of creative work, I found myself asking a question I didn't really expect. If, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to do my work anymore because of AI or whatever it is, what would I do? How would I feel? Would I still know who I am? Would I still know what my identity is? I mean, my identity is so heavily tied to what I do, to my work. It's such a big part of my life. And I just kind of wonder, if that was to go, who would I be? How would I feel? I don't really know. I don't really know the answer to that. But, you know, it's uncomfortable to think about because it really does expose how much your identity can be in what you do or what you produce or what you can offer the world, the value you can offer. But I do wonder, are we more than what we can actually do? Is our value as human beings more than that? Is it more than what we can offer the marketplace? Personally, I don't think value is something that should be measured by usefulness. I mean, if that was the case, then what would that say about people that can't physically work or perform or provide value for whatever reason? Maybe that's due to a disadvantage or a disability of some kind. What does that say about them then? Are they less than me because they can't work? Do they have less value than me as a human being? It doesn't matter who you are. I don't think your value as a human being is more than another because of what you can bring in the workplace, in the marketplace. You know, for me, it's been helpful to remember that I am more than what I do. I'm a brother, I'm a friend, I'm a son, and one day I hope maybe I can be a father and a husband. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. You know, my faith is something that's so important to me, shapes how I see the world, how I behave, how I try and live. I would hope there's more to me than just my work, you know? You know, it's funny because I'm saying all of this, but I need to hear this more than anyone. I work myself like a dog most days. I work so hard. A lot of people don't even realize that about me. But the funny thing and the great irony is What do I really have to show for it all? I'm still dead broke. I'm starting to lose the joy of what I once loved doing. And even if I do acquire the success that I seek, does that even matter in the end? As I make my way to the celestial city, the question I must constantly ask is this: what is my identity in?